Hey, Mike, good to see you. I know we talked and you kind of jumped around this off season. If you had to distill it, what was the area of your game that kind of demanded the most attention, that you put the most work into?
I mean, yeah, I think the two spots offensively that I worked on was my ball handling, creating shots off of the dribble, separation moves, and then a lot of work out of the mid post. I saw some different matchups in the playoffs, smaller guys on me, so trying to get comfortable with go-to moves in that mid post area, like Melo does, people like that, when there's a mismatch, that's a good spot to go to. So those are probably the two main areas offensively.
Chris Dempsey, Altitude Sports.
Hey, Mike, good to see you, man. You spent time with Steph Curry this summer. Could you just tell us what that experience was like? What did you guys work on? What were your biggest takeaways? Just all the things.
Yeah, so I spent a week out there with Steph working out in the Bay. Brought my brother with me, my little brother Coben, who's playing at DU. But it was great. I mean, we just got it in every day, early in the morning, and sometimes we go back at night. A lot of high-intensity shooting workouts, but also, moves off the dribble. Steph's biggest attribute is how good of shape he's in. So, we were running around game speed shots and just really getting after it. Every shooting drill was a competition as well. So we were shooting against each other and then keeping track of our wins, see who would win at the end of the day. And it was just super fun. Me and Steph go back to when I used to go to his camps in high school. So that's how I know Steph. And we've stayed, in touch since then. So it was good to get that working with him. And yeah, we were actually supposed to go work out these last few days in LA, but I decided to come back to Denver a little early. But yeah, that's my guy. And that's something that I'll probably try to do in the offseason moving forward because it was great work.
Chris Marlowe, Altitude Sports.
Hey, Michael. You referred to your workouts with Steph and improving your offensive game. I'm curious, most people think that for the Nuggets to take a big step, they need to be better defensively. I'm wondering, is that something individually you could practice in the offseason? And did you practice defense in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, my trainer had me doing some stuff. It's very hard to emulate guarding NBA superstars, and just workouts. But a lot of that stuff comes in the form of what you do in the weight room, your agility work, flexibility, things like that can really translate into defense, I feel like. So there were times where I was getting guys in the gym playing one-on-one, really trying to work on different techniques, things like that. But it's hard when you see KD or you see some of these really good NBA players. It's just hard to really simulate that. But it was definitely some stuff we talked about, film we watched, because like you said, we got a really good team offensively. There needs to be some improvement from me and the team moving forward defensively. So that definitely was a focus for sure.
Joel Rush, Forbes.
Hey, Mike, good to see you. You mentioned going back to Denver early to work out. What have you seen from some of the other guys in those early runs? And specifically, Aaron Gordon just mentioned that he had been kind of hampered by injuries last season. Can you see some change in him?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've been here. I haven't got out there and played yet, but watching the guys, I'm really impressed with Aaron. The day that I saw him play, the way he's moving, he looks strong and he looks healthy. So that was really, really good to see. Man, PJ Monte looks solid. Nikola looks like he hasn't stopped since the season. Bol looks really well. He's scoring, blocking shots, playing with a good attitude, a good energy about him. So that's really good to see. I'm trying to stay in his ear just because Bol, he could be a part of this team and help us do big things. It's just going to take a mindset change, which I think that he's ready to embrace. So I'm trying to text him, tell him to hang out with me, come to the gym with me at night, things like that, because, man, that kid is very talented. So I've been impressed with those guys.
Christos Saltas, SDNA Greece.
Hey, Michael, hope you're doing well. How better player you feel since last season, both mentally and physically? And do you feel ready to take your game to another level this season?
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely feel better. I don't really stop working. So being able to just work out and know more about what I knew about the NBA game than last year, it's definitely going to pay dividends. Those playoffs games are going to play dividends. Being guarded by different dudes, seeing different things, it's going to pay off. So one thing for me, I think a lot of film work is going to be beneficial, but also, getting on the court and working on your weaknesses. I think a lot of people are scared to work on their weaknesses. I hear mine, and I like when people point those out to me so that I can try to get better at them, because no player ends up being great if they only work on their strengths. I think that the majority of your time should be working on your strengths because that's what got you here in the first place. But then as you get that time in the off season, you should be working on your weaknesses as well.
Mike Singer, Denver Post.
Hey, Mike, I know when we talked, you said you weren't stressed about your contract situation in the least. You weren't, letting it kind of hold you back or worry you. Do you want to get an extension done before the season starts? How much is that a priority for you?
Dude, it's a thing that's on the radar, but I try to let my agent do his job and just, I'm in the loop, so I'm talking with my agent, talking with Tim, those guys. But for me, it's God's time, and when it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. I'm not going to try to rush it. All I'm going to worry about is getting ready, getting geared up for the season. And then that's what I hire my agent for, to figure those things out. I love basketball, so it's not too stressful for me about, the money stuff. Of course, that's part of it, but, I'm just trying to stay in the gym, get better, and get ready for this season.
Chris Dempsey, Altitude Sports.
Hey, Mike, can you just give us an idea of how you feel physically going into training camp, and just how hampered were you in that Phoenix series, especially when the season was ending?
No doubt that Phoenix series, I should have. If it was any other time besides playoff time, I definitely would have taken a few days because, I had tweaked something and I just felt totally off. So every movement, everything was just kind of I wasn't me. So then that played a part in me not feeling like myself, not performing my best for my team. But it was playoff time, so you got to gut through it. But probably a week or two after we lost, I was back to normal. It took about a week to get all the way back feeling good. And ever since then, I've been able to put in the work in this offseason and feel pretty good. So it definitely was tough. It was bad timing because I didn't really have too much nagging stuff throughout the season. I played every game except for when they rested me. So to get that little nick in the playoffs was tough for me, but stuff happens. No player goes unscathed from injuries or little nicks and knacks. But I feel good, strength coach, been working with him all season. Good to get back to Denver and get back in a routine. But I feel great.
Ryan Blackburn, Denver Stiffs.
Hey, Mike, good to see you. We spoke to Will a little bit earlier, and he mentioned that even without Jamal, we still want Mike to be Mike. We still want him to play the way that he always plays. Does your mentality change at all on kind of changing what you do a little bit with Jamal out for at least the early part of the season? And does that go through your mind at all in how you play, the types of things that you do?
Yeah, obviously we're looking forward to Jamal being back. Can't wait for that. He looks good. The times I've seen him, in the weight room and things like that. But for me, you guys know how it is for me. Even when I was getting 5 minutes, I still would play my game. I still shoot tough shots I probably shouldn't have been shooting as a rookie. But I've always viewed myself as I'm going to play my game no matter what. And if Jamal's out, I'm still going to play my game. I'm not going to force things, but the ball is probably going to end up in my hands more than it did when he's playing, So I'm going to just continue to be me, continue to try to utilize the stuff I've worked on this offseason. And I just look forward to making another jump this season because I've been working hard. So I'm excited for that to show and to be able to be even more of a leader for my team.
All right, we got time for one more. We're going to end with Christos Saltes from SDNA Greece.
Mike, you mentioned the jump that you would like to make this season. Is an individual trophy back on your mind? For example, the most improved player or stuff like this?
I'd rather be an all-star and an MVP and a champion than a most improved player. But I think it's definitely an honor to be a most improved player. But I'm like, my goals are bigger than that. I don't really think about most improved player. But at the same time, I think if you put in the work in the offseason, you work on your weaknesses, things like that, you always have a chance for people to recognize that. But I'd much rather be having a ring at the end of the season than any individual award.
All right, that'll do it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, appreciate you.